Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the 2019 lecture of the Dutch Scientific Council for Government Policy, the WRR. My name is Corien Prins, as already mentioned, and I'm the chair of the council. Let me begin by saying that I'm honored to have Ute Frevert as our keynote speaker in our midst this year. And I'm delighted to welcome our other distinguished contributors, among them our Minister, Kajsa Ollengren. Today, we will be talking about emotions in politics and policy. Emotions both as a means of communication, but also, as Ute Frevert will show, emotions as an argument, as an instrument. Many important events over the last decade are immediately associated with particular emotions. We all remember 9/11 with fear, the Arab Spring with anger, the financial crisis with indignation. In the Western world, the angry citizen took center stage in 2016 with the Brexit referendum, and the US, the presidential election, and recently the yellow vests in France and a few of them in the Netherlands. At the same time, we also see great displays of solidarity and empathy. More than any statistic or piece of investigative journalism, the photographer of the drowned young child, Alan Kurdi, brought the refugee crisis to the attention of the general public 3 years ago. Hurricanes in East Asia and the famine in Yemen are also examples. And of course, in the Dutch context, the downing of flight MH17 comes to our mind. Emotions played a central role in the speech at the United Nations of our then Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as in the solemn national commemoration of the victims. Yet many people feel unease when dealing with emotion in the public sphere. Policy is regularly seen as a technical domain that requires cool-headed expertise. And politicians who are skilled at deploying emotions are often portrayed as demagogues, if not as people who are outright dangerous. In the eyes of many, emotions stand opposed to truthfulness and rationality. But, as I believe Ute Frevert will remind us, the opposition between rationality and emotion is often false. The ancient Greeks already knew that much. For Aristotle, a good speech not only involved reason, logos, but also good character, ethos, and emotion, pathos. Emotions are a powerful force that shapes politics. And as I suggested a minute ago, emotions can play also a positive role. Allow me to give you one example from my own field of expertise, which is law and the judiciary. In a recent verdict on Black Pete, the judge added a personal note that reflected his emotions on the case. Some people might find this inappropriate, but I disagree. I believe that a well-considered display of emotion makes judges more human and thus may contribute to the perceived legitimacy of the judiciary and to the acceptance of its rulings. Today's topic is in many ways interwoven with the present agenda of the WRR. Often the link is obvious. In the last few years, we've published studies on such emotionally charged topics as the position of the middle class and on societal divisions. The rift between lower and higher educated people is more and more becoming the focal point of antagonistic feelings. Another threat in our program is migration. I do not need to explain to you that our publications on this topic land in a virtual minefield of emotions. But less obvious, several other and seemingly more technical projects on our agenda also have a strong link with emotion. Let me give you 3 examples. First, the example of the judiciary I just gave you ties in with our new project on artificial intelligence. If what a judge does is solely the correct application of general rules to specific circumstances, then perhaps algorithms can do just as well, perhaps even better. But if the work of a judge is more than just logical reasoning and involves emotions like empathy and compassion, it's much less wise to leave it up to algorithms. In fact, modern psychology strongly suggests that rational decision-making is simply impossible without the input of affect and emotion. Secondly, another new project on our research agenda concerns the costs of healthcare. This might appear a rather technical issue, something best left to economists and financial experts. But it is anything but technical. Anyone who takes up the problem of rising healthcare costs has to confront some profoundly difficult questions with regard to solidarity, deservedness. And these questions are saturated with emotions, as they are sometimes literally about matters of life and death. Therefore, an advisory report about the rising cost of healthcare can only claim to be rational if it takes these emotional dimensions fully into account. And third, last example. Last week, we published as the WRR, you might have known it in the different newspaper clippings, our 100th report on the topic of money creation. The financial system and the way it is organized are often portrayed as purely technical matters, but we can safely conclude that the 2008 crisis has proven otherwise. In the aftermath of the public outcry over this crisis, it was a group of concerned and angry citizens, Stichting Ons Geld, who started an initiative that led to a discussion in Parliament, initiated by Member of Parliament Pieter Omtzigt, and subsequently led to our report. Not surprisingly, the first reactions on our report are colored by emotion as well. But I have the impression that quite a few of them are more positive than is usual for this contentious issue. And I also sense feelings of recognition and even perhaps some enthusiasm for our recommendations. This is good news. Anger and indignation are important for putting issues on the agenda, but we cannot live by anger and indignation alone. We also need constructive, positive emotions, as they provide the vital energy for tackling and persisting in the difficult tasks and challenges that lay ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, I've briefly sketched the theme of today's lecture and the many reasons why we at the WRR have taken emotions as a topic of today, emotions in politics and policy. I look forward to what I'm sure will be inspiring presentations, and I do hope that they will motivate you to contribute to a continued debate on this important topic. Thank you.